another call. Here I am.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we're here. You got Darlene's message that we were going to be live already.
I see we're live right now.
Okay. So, because of we have 30 minutes, right? Is that correct?
No, this is great.
So I just wanted to make sure that everything was set up. So how are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you.
How are you and your family doing with this whole quarantine situation? Is everybody healthy? And
everyone's healthy, happy, and safe. I'm out here in Sedona, and Sedona's already fully opened back up. But during this time, I'm very blessed. I've just been out in nature, hiking every day. So that's really funny. Like, you get out in nature by yourself, it's like the rest of the planet doesn't really recognize what's going on, So
yeah,
nice time to pause, to reflect, get back to nature, and that's what I've been doing. So yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited to have you here. As usual, this is the third year that I've got to do this.
Isn't that crazy?
Third year, yes.
Time flies.
Yes, and so I was telling the group that I signed up for Business by Design, started to get to know you 2017, May, I think it was May-ish 2017, April, and how far not only you have come in the business since then, but obviously how far I've come. And I was just giving them a little background that you've been in business, online business for 13 years.
Yeah.
But for the first 4 years, you struggled.
Big time.
And I think that it's always kind of great for people to know that, because I think that they see, well, I know because people have said they see your success and they feel like you're out of their league.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
You know what I mean? Like they don't get it. And so it's always good for people to hear, like, you started at the beginning just like everybody else.
Just like like everybody else. And I actually like to brag and say, I think I struggled a lot longer than most people.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I kept changing directions. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. I ran out of money. So I had to move back in with my parents. You're in your mid-20s and you're like college graduate. You're supposed to like start to get your life together. And I felt like I was going backwards, And then I got addicted to Adderall, which that's no bueno. Oh my gosh. That's like, Adderall is like a legal form of speed. Like, you pop 20 milligrams of that and you're like cleaning your toilet with a toothbrush. And so I started popping 20 to 40 milligrams a day, and would just sit in front of a computer from like about 8 or 9 in the morning until about midnight, working, trying to figure this out. And I was a little overweight at the time, actually. Side story. I started out at 220, 224 was like my heaviest. It's kind of a little bigger for me. And by the end of it, at my lowest, I was 147 pounds. That's a lot of weight. So it's the Adderall diet. And you wouldn't eat, I lost all connections with friends, and just would hide out in my room working all day. And that wasn't healthy. It wasn't sustainable. I was burning out. I did that for 4 years. Okay. Like that was a long time. And, there's a couple things that we can pull out of that story and that experience in my life. Cause I wouldn't take it back for a second, because I did learn so much. We learn through contrast, right? Contrast creates clarity. And there's a lot of mistakes I was making. And today, that's how I help a lot of people. I was just on a coaching call with some students, and they got to tell me what they're struggling with. And you know what all I do in my mind is I just go back to that moment in time when I had that same struggle. And so I'm really fortunate today that I had as many struggles that I did, because it just offers me the experience, and the experience offers the wisdom so that I can help other people through it. And I think that's what we're all here to do, right? Is go through something and then help other people go through it. Yes. Maybe a little easier, a little quicker, a little bit more fun. And what I realized was the number one thing that I was causing me to struggle for 4 years was this whole idea of not really being in the game. There's that beautiful metaphor of like You know, Brene Brown talks about being in the arena, you know, so you can stay really busy building a business, but staying on the sidelines. And this is what I call the sideline entrepreneur, where you're constantly building, you're constantly tweaking, you're constantly perfecting, but you're not really getting in the game. And that's what I realized was I wasn't ever putting myself out there. I wasn't ever showing up. I wasn't ever asking. I wasn't ever getting in the game. And so I was always building a website or working on my branding or my About Me page or finding little technical programming stuff that I could fix. Excuse me. So that became all I was doing. And, you know, if that's all you focus on as a business owner, you might find yourself working really hard and really long hours. That's not going to get you anywhere. And it wasn't until years later that I realized out of those long to-do lists, there's only 5% activities. 5% activities out of that mile-long to-do list that we create for ourselves that is really responsible for all the results that we want. The problem is those 5% activities exist outside your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. They're scary, they're uncomfortable, they're unfamiliar. And people don't want to go outside their comfort zone, so they stay in their comfort zone. And the thing is if you want to stay in your comfort zone, that's fine. But if you signed up to be an entrepreneur and also stay in your comfort zone, it just doesn't work. Because being an entrepreneur, the very nature of entrepreneurship is what? It's seeing something in your mind with such clarity and confidence, no one else can see that thing but you, that you're willing to have the courage and the faith to take those steps towards it. And those steps, that's like taking a risk, right? Now, obviously, when you believe it and you know it in your heart, you can really mitigate that risk, but it still requires you to step outside your comfort zone. You know, you have to sell, for example. Like if you're going to go into business for yourself and not sell, how's that working for you? And then selling requires us to experience rejection. Mm-hmm. You know, not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to say yes to you. But that's not how most struggling entrepreneurs approach business. They say, I need to make it perfect. I need everyone to love me. I can't make any mistakes. And I can't get any rejection. I don't know anybody who's successful who doesn't have those things. I failed my way to success. I mistaked my way to success. And that's why I'm here. And that's why you are where you are, because we have become more willing than the average Joe or Jane to take those risks, to follow our heart, to make mistakes, to make it messy, to look a little silly at times.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look, here I am. I'm in one of our Airbnbs. Like the sun is shining over my face. This is weird shadows. You know, it's like, that's okay. Like, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Could it be better? Yeah, it could be better. Am I focused on those things? Nope.
Right.
Am I worried about those things? Nope. Do I want to help somebody who's listening? Yep. Is that all that matters? Yes.
Yes.
And so I just keep doing that. And then like even you expressing like, oh, I've seen you grow so much in the last 4 years. It's like, yeah, because I'm continue to make mistakes and I have an openness to embrace them, because I believe when you make those mistakes, that's when you learn. And when you learn, you grow. When you grow, your business grows. Why? Because your business, my friends, is simply a reflection of you. It's the byproduct of you and who you've been as the entrepreneur, how you've been showing up. And so the problem is a lot of people go, you know, I need to change my business, fix my business, grow my business, and they point their finger at everyone and everything but themselves. And it's not until we really start to like look at ourselves and saying, how am I showing up in this thing? Where am I putting my time and my energy? What am I avoiding? What am I afraid of? It's not until we ask those really hard questions. And then of course, what's even harder than asking the question is answering them. Do we see any type of shift? And that's what I really love to help people with today. Like, that's what I'm really passionate about, is I want to create or activate the entrepreneur within you. Like, I want you to be the biggest, baddest, fearless, extraordinary entrepreneurial leader that we call the digital CEO that you possibly can, so that you can create what you want to create and help the people you want to help. And yes, make buttloads of money. I mean, right now I just got a stat from a buddy, and during this time, you know, you mentioned like, how are you during this time? Like, well, during this time, business is flourishing. My buddy sent me a tweet from Patrick Collison. Now, Patrick Collison is the CEO of Stripe. Oh, wow. And Stripe is a online money processing software. Right. In other words, online businesses use it to receive money. Like, when you submit your credit card on like a website, it could be used by Stripe. It's not the only option, it's one option. And this CEO of Stripe said businesses that have launched on Stripe since the lockdowns began in March have already generated more than $1 billion in revenue. Wow. This is May we're in right now. We're very glad to be able to play our part in helping them sell, adapt, and grow. The truth is, I work with a lot of clients today at every level. I'm talking people just getting started to people that have multiple 7-figure businesses. But the thing that they all have in common is that they're all online and they all sell information or digital products, whether it's a membership, a course, a group program, one-on-one coaching. We work with people that do one-on-one coaching, virtual training, coaching, mentorship, content, teaching. Every different niche imaginable that you could think of, right? And by and large, the vast majority of them, they're all thriving right now during this time. Yeah. That's really hard to admit, because there's some, and you know, don't get me started on it, because like, my heart goes out to them. It sucks, okay? And that's, you know, we need to be able to know and trust that you can be grateful and sad at the same time. Right. You know, you can receive and have compassion. But these online businesses, by and large, are not just doing well. Like, yeah, they're doing okay. No, they're booming during this time. And it's because more people are looking to the internet. Yeah. You know, people have had more time, so they're looking for more hobbies. They're homeschooling, they're learning, they have more questions, you know. And it is for online businesses, and it's an exciting time. And we shouldn't feel guilty for that, because it's like, when you understand the very nature of the economy will keep, you know, there's a direct relationship to where the economy is and just the health of the nation and people's health and people's sanity, all those things, right? And when online businesses can play not a full part, but a small role in keeping the economy going, which keeping the economy going just means the transfer of money and goods. You know, if it's like, we got to be like a river, not a stagnant pool of water. And the more we keep that going, the more we're going to get through this. And to know that there are people, businesses that are online, that are virtual, people that have pivoted to online and virtual. And I'm going to share a great story that you're going to love in a moment. Like, we are playing a part. Is it going to fix and change everything? No, but it plays a role that I think is even more important right now in what will guide us back to, you know, hopefully even better than where we were before this. You know, that's where my heart is. That's where my manifestations are focused. And that's really exciting. And at the same time, my heart can go out for even the local businesses in this town. I'm in Sedona, Arizona right now. I love Sedona. It's an entirely tourist town. I mean, the whole town is 6 million people a year come. And these businesses only exist because of those 6 million. And it went from 6 million to 0, like that, just gone. And so I go to, you know, and I don't say this like, oh, look at me brag, but I do this because, like, you know, I want people to know, like, I'm feeling it, I'm seeing it. I'm on Handy every day. You know, the app, you know what Handy is? It's the Uber for handymen. And nice. It's really neat. So all these people that are out of work, I'm like hiring them to, like, hey, do some fix up projects around my house. I go to the local pizza place and it's like buy a $20 pizza and like there's a $100 tip. Like anything that I can do to support that, right? Because my heart really does go out. It's really tragic. But I'm not, you know, what we have to understand, and it's a spiritual principle, you being poor doesn't help others get out of poverty.
Thank you. Yes.
Your struggle doesn't help other people get out of their struggles.
So that's one. So that is, you are speaking to these teachers. So my audience is Pilates teachers. One of the things I see that they're doing right now, and it's rampant, is they're doing free sessions. All of their sessions are online and free. Mm-hmm. And if they're selling in these like Pilates groups, they're being criticized.
By whom? Other Pilates people?
Pilates, yeah, other Pilates people. Right. And I just had my biggest launch ever last week. I finished up. And a lot of the feedback I got was, yeah, I have the time to go through this course now. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, how do you start to get, when you have a group that is focused on lack, and feeling like the only way is by giving their everything away. What do you have? What can you say to these?
So here's the first thing. I understand, of course, other Pilates instructors are going to give them flack. Of course, they're going to be upset, but that's their stuff. They're triggered. They're threatened by you. They're saying, wait a second, I'm giving my stuff away. You need to give your stuff away for free. That's not support. That's division. That's trying to pull people down. Yeah. Of course, they're going to do that. And they're going to continue to do that. So if anybody here listening is like, I really feel called to offer a paid option, but I'm going to wait until every other Pilates instructor on the planet doesn't ridicule me and I get their permission, you're going to be waiting a really long time. You're not doing it for them. That's not your customer, okay? And they're in fear themselves, so they want to pull you down to their level because you threaten them. They're threatened by you. That's the only reason they would criticize you, okay? So, and let me see if I can get into more shadow here.
Oh, you're good.
So that's the first piece. The second thing is this. This isn't, I'm going to say two very important things with the time that we have. Number one, to sell or not to sell is not an A or B question. It's not an A or B. Do I sell or give away for free? It's both. You have options for people that can't afford it, and then you have options for people that want to keep going. That's the simple answer. We get so stuck in our life because everything becomes an A or B choice. But we always forget option C, which is both. Both. And that brings me to the second thing, that you're doing a massive disservice if you're not selling. And here's why. There is an ancient spiritual principle, and you can research this, called Aini. And Aini is this ancient law of reciprocity. And so anybody that was seeking out the medicine man or the healer or the guru, they knew that if they're seeking that guru out, that was so they could grow, so they could be enlightened, so they could evolve, so they could learn. And they knew about Aini, which means they couldn't go work for the guru without the Aini, without the reciprocity. In other words, if this guru is going to give you all this wisdom, what were you going to give the guru? And it doesn't necessarily in those times mean money, like here's what I charge, but there is an offering, there's an exchange. And this still exists today. And you see it manifesting everywhere. We don't value what we get for free. Like people listening to this are half paying, there'll be people that are half paying attention. Right. That are not really paying attention to what I have to say. They're not really valuing this, that aren't taking it to heart. You're kind of like, do I agree? I don't know, right? You're on guard.
Yeah.
But you already know, anybody listening, that if you had paid a lot of money to work with Alison and I, and we started having this conversation, you would even show up differently, wouldn't you?
Right.
you'd be receiving this differently. You'd be a little bit more committed. You'd be a little bit more open. And that's because first off, the exchange has to be there. You will receive to the direct proportion at which you give. And that's why I tell my students, the reason not selling is a disservice is because the transformation begins with the transaction. And the reason that happens is because the transaction forces a decision. Now, it doesn't force a yes, it forces a decision. When you guys really got to get this. The reason somebody has the problem that you solve is because they've been avoiding important decisions in their life. They've been putting it off. I'll change my weight, my nutrition, my body, my health routine later. So they're not making the important decisions backed by commitments in their life. And then when you come along and you say, I've got this thing, would you like it or not? What do they have to do? They have to decide the very thing that they've been putting off. It's just a decision. It's not I'm making you do something. It's saying, hey, I've got a party. Would you like to RSVP? Yes or no? But you guys aren't inviting people to your party. You're not sending them to RSVP. How rude of you. People are like, you didn't invite me. You're such a jerk, right? And if they say yes, what do you think was going through their heads the moment before the yes? Oh, I want to do this, but I don't know. Am I really going to do it this time? Am I going to take it seriously? Is this going to be like something I just fall off the wagon on? And if they said yes and they gave you money, what must they have concluded in their mind? I'm going to do it this time. This is it. Now is my time. Right now, what else am I going to do? I'm in. And it's that I'm in, backed with skin in the game, that begins a ripple effect, a domino release of a whole new way of being in that person's life.
So, okay. So the other thing I see is, okay, so people say, okay, I am selling, and then they sell it for a really like $10. Yeah. Or this, I see this a lot. What is it? Where they ask for a donation. You can pay from $1 to $20. I see that a lot. Mm-hmm. What do you have to say about that?
Well, the donation thing we got to get rid of, because you're not a charity, you're a business. And if you ask people, if you'd let people determine the value and price of your stuff, they're going to underprice it and therefore undervalue it. And you need to hold that space of, this is how valuable this is. This is how important it is. Meet me up here. If you say, here's a donation or whatever, all that communicates is that you don't value your stuff. So if you don't value your stuff, how the F do you ever think anyone else to value it? And that's kind of the same answer for undercharging. What people charge, I'm not going to make a judgment on. What I am going to speak about is undercharging. If you know deep in your heart what your stuff is worth and you know what it should be priced at, you choose that price. Gosh darn it. You don't go in your head and let fear choose the price. I'm afraid they might get a little offended. I'm afraid they'll say this, they'll say that, they'll do that. You know in your heart what you should be charging. You know in your heart what it's worth. And you're either going to make a decision from your heart, or you're going to make a decision from your ego and your head and your fear. And, I've never really heard anyone say like, gosh, I should have never followed my heart. What a big mistake. My gut. Don't listen to your gut. It's always people saying what? I knew I overthought it.
Yeah.
I got all messed up in my head. So I'm not here to tell people what price they should choose, because I believe we do know what our stuff is worth when we get really clear. And you know your value when you get really clear. And you're either choosing from that place of what you know it's worth, or you're afraid to do that, so you undervalue yourself. The choice is yours, but that's the choice. Am I going to choose from my heart or my head? That's all I have on that, you know.
Awesome. No, that's great. And then, okay. And then the next thing I see is, and I think we've already covered this pretty much, but we've got about 5 minutes. So they are terrified of judgment, of what people will think of them. Now, I have gotten over that because for how long I've been studying with you, I know I would not still be here if it was about me. The only thing that keeps me going is knowing that there are people that need help.
Yeah.
And that's how that's what I've learned from you. And that's how I see business now.
So a lot of people, when they come to me, they say, I'm afraid of being judged and I'm afraid of being rejected. And I actually like to challenge them and say, that's what you think you're afraid of, but that's actually not what you're really afraid of. What you're actually afraid of is what that judgment or rejection means about you. And you're afraid that that meaning is true. And so if you were to ask yourself, what would it mean if someone rejected or judged me? Most people end up answering with, it mean I'm not good enough. And that's this core belief illusion that most people, and I had it too for a really long time. That's what ends up driving people's lives. And they spend their whole life trying to avoid evidence of that, trying to hide from the world that I don't want anyone to know I'm not good enough. But it's just a belief. It's not true. You know, good enough at what? What are we measuring that's good or bad enough, right? And so this fear and this belief really drives people's lives. And here's the funny thing. Most of the judgment and ridicule you're receiving is from a bunch of people that also believe that they're not good enough. So it's really silly when we think about it, because we're afraid of letting people know that we're not good enough, which is an illusion. And we're afraid that the people that would think that are a bunch of people that also think they're not good enough. And so when you are facing ridicule, rejection, negative opinions, it's really because you simply threaten them. Because you're doing something that they wish they could be doing, but they're not, because they're still operating from that old belief that I'm not good enough. And then here you come and you go do it. And they're like, that's not fair. Why is she doing what I want to do, but I'm too afraid to do? I know, I'll tear her down. I'll bring her back down to my level. So your success and your exposure and your views, your audience, all that stuff, that threatens people. It threatens their belief system, because you're somebody that's saying, yeah, I have these insecurities and I got stuff to work on and I kind of have a fear. I'm going to do it anyways. And they're not. So you're just a total threat to their existence, because they're like, wait a second. I chose not to do this thing and they're doing it. Something must be wrong here. Must be them. Let me tear them down. And that's what we're afraid of, you know? So I hope people got that conceptually. That's kind of where a lot of work begins.
Right.
Because that's driving our lives in so many areas, in so many ways. And it's just exactly what you said. When you realize and integrate that that's just an illusion, then the only thing that really matters is that you're figuring out what your purpose is. And your purpose is, you know, this unique gift and talent that you have to give to the world. And then you're just giving that gift away. And I don't mean giving away for free, because people do, like we've already said, don't value what you give away for free. People don't pay, they don't pay attention. There's no skin in the game, right? There's no I-need there. And so that's our job. That's what I've been doing for years now. And look, people still ridicule me. But then there's also people that are like, you've changed my life.
You've changed my life. You are one of those things that have changed my life.
Thank you for saying that. And so if that's the case, what advice do you guys have for me? Should I focus my energy on the person on Facebook that called me an ugly F-tard? I'm censoring it a little bit. Or should I
Oh
focus
my gosh.
on the fact that Allison's saying you've changed my life? Should I focus on some guy said you should go kill yourself on Facebook last week?
It's crazy.
We run a lot of ads. So ads are everywhere. I mean,
It's
I don't care.
insane.
So should I focus on that, or should I focus on that person out there that lost their job, but they've had this idea in the back of their head for years to finally do this thing and start an online business? What do you guys think I should focus on? You know, and when it's somebody else, it's obvious. Then why are you guys focusing on that? It's obvious for me. It's obvious for you too. And you get what you focus on. So you're going to focus on the 10%, 5% of people that hate you because they're threatened by you, or the 95% of people out there whose lives you're about to change.
Yes.
Life is a choice. That's your choice. Go ahead and choose. And there's a consequence for each choice. There's an effect for each choice. You know, good consequences or bad consequences, in my opinion, but it's up to you guys.
And so, yeah, so with my teachers, we'll keep going and exploring that in this group. And it's noon. It's actually 12:01. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much. Just know that you've done worlds for me. And then now it's obviously to other people. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I'll see you soon.
Take care. See you guys.
Okay. Bye.